Ted, do you believe you have a soul?
What did you think I would do at this moment when you're standing before me with tears in your eyes? That answer your question?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fanzone Debate. First match of the season. I mean, excluding the event we just did yesterday. That was super fun. If you haven't seen The Last Word yet, go check it out. Really fun event. Some familiar faces from that event here today. We got Robbie Casts, Robert Kastner. Robert, welcome. You are judging this one with me. Oh, I buried the lead. It's a title match. Kirk, Rue champ, Kirk challenging. This is exciting. Now, Robert, how are you, sir? And what do you think of the age-old Kirk-Rue rivalry? What are your thoughts on this one today?
Happy to be here, Tim. I think it's only the second one I've judged, maybe the third. There's a lot to be said about what the energies of these two competitors bring and what they bring out of each other. There's been a lot of fun stuff. Sometimes rivalry can be lost in the wilderness because sometimes one side gets the better of the other too much. Glad to see that sort of has tipped, and we're in an unfamiliar position with where these two are, but I'm super excited for it.
Yes, Brian Michaels is also here. Brian, how are you, my friend? And also, I think you've played Rue before, right? You've played Rue.
I have not debated Rue. No,
you have not debated Rue. Okay,
I was supposed to, but that's when I stepped out of debate for a while.
That's right. Well, anyway, you've judged Rue debates.
Yes.
You've played Kirk and judged Kirk debates. What is your take on this one now that Rue is in the champion spot and Kirk is the one coming in for the?
I'm just glad to see two newcomers like this get to come in and finally play for a title because neither of them has ever been able to in a position before. It's been crazy, because they're really. Nobody respects their debate skills at all. They're not interesting to listen to in any way, shape, or form. No, they obviously are here for a reason. They're kind of the best of the best, and I do like that. For once, we're kind of seeing it like Robert was saying, shooting the other foot with Rue's the champion now, Kirk's the challenger, which honestly makes Kirk scarier because he's hungry now. So see what happens.
Yeah, Rue was able to defend his belt at the end of last year. So now Kirk is here using his automatic rematch that he has earned through his defenses. So it's going to be interesting if Kirk can make it happen. He will be a 3-time champion, which is pretty exciting. If Rue can beat him again, that's even more exciting than Rue. I think Rue has already cemented himself as one of the all-timers, but that would just really seal the deal for anyone that was even mildly skeptical about it. So we're going to get into this because we're going to hear these guys talk a lot tonight. So we'll talk to them in a more extended way at the end, but we're just going to get right into the match, and here's how it's going to work. So the players drafted categories. We gave them questions based on those categories. They are going to debate those questions tonight before our very souls. So they're each going to get a 1-minute opening, followed by a 5-minute freeform, followed by a 1-minute closing at the end of the debate. Robert, Brian, and I will write on our boards who we thought won the debate. 2 out of 3 votes will win you a point. Thus, it is a title match. So whoever wins must get up to 4 points instead of 3. So Kirk and Rue, welcome. Quickly, any questions or anything you want to say to your opponent before we hit this off?
Good luck, Rue. Good to see you again.
Good luck, sir.
Ooh, very sweet. All right, let's do it. All right, we are kicking this one off with the first category. This was drafted by the champion in the category of sci-fi fantasy. Your question is, which scene in a Harry Potter film has the coolest use of magic? So, Rue, you drafted this. You get to go first. You have 1 minute to open your argument.
The DA montage from Neville finding the room of requirement to Harry and Cho kissing is the coolest use of magic, not only because of what is seen on screen, but also because of what it's used for. The magic is used to bolster the skills of all the students to fight back against the tyrannical regime, show Harry as a natural leader, proves that Hermione and Ginny are the smartest and strongest magic users, shows Fred and George's ability to bake magic into food and hijinks with their chocolate-creating boils, while showing us the multiple cool spells that can be used in defensive arts, from Expelliarmus to Stupefy to Reducto, crumbling a statue in the ash. But even in all that, it highlights the coolest piece of magic in all of Harry Potter, which is the room of requirement, a room that presents exactly what you need when you need it. Given the DA fighting, statues, cushions for dueling, mirrors to watch yourself, shrinking from an entrance to a broom closet when Filch and Malfoy try to sneak in, giving the DA a back door to get out, and finally, the ultimate wingman. Without that room, Harry doesn't finally kiss Cho. There's nothing cooler than a room of requirement, and this scene isn't just cool to look at, but it also uses magic in a multitude of cool, life-altering ways.
Awesome. All right, let's move over to Mr. Kowalkowski. You have 1 minute to open your argument when you start.
I picked a scene from the same movie. I picked the battle between Voldemort and Dumbledore at the Ministry of Magic at the end of Order of the Phoenix. It's always cool to see the best go at it, whether it's sports or movie debate or magic use. It's always cool to see the best of the best, and that's what Dumbledore and Voldemort are. You see them locked in this awesome elemental battle using really cool, unique spells. It's fire versus water, glass countered by turning into sand, and you just get to see these two characters really go. You get to see what a badass Dumbledore is, even as powerful and as scary as Voldemort is. You see him take that step back as soon as Voldemort or Dumbledore comes in, and you see him his frustration. He's not able to, as Dumbledore counters everything he does. You get some really cool special effects, some of the best special effects in the series. And again, like I said, from just the battle itself to the special effects to the use of the magic, this is without a doubt the coolest use in the entire franchise.
Okay. All right. You guys are ready to go. You will have 5 minutes now when one of you starts talking. I will throw up the 1 minute warning when the time comes. If you're talking too much and not giving your opponent their due, throw up the let your opponent talk. Don't make me do that. It makes me sad. Okay. 5 minutes when one of you starts.
I have two big issues with this scene being the coolest use of magic. One, in what we see, it starts off with the connecting wand thing that they do in the movie previously at the graveyard, and then do again with Harry and Voldemort in part 2, and it's just so those things connecting, and in the middle of it, you're enthralled by like the different special effects, and all of a sudden you see this black stuff just attacking Dumbledore, and it's like, whoa. What was that compared to everything else we just saw? That's always a lull. But more importantly than that, it's two dudes fighting. We see wizards dueling all the time, and it's just that use of magic kind of gets old after a while. So seeing it's cool as a cool use of magic, there's way more cooler things to use magic for than just one thing, while mine has a plethora of ways to show how cool magic can be.
The whole reason you guys you're seeing this happening is so they can learn to eventually go fight. Yes, it starts out with the wands connecting, but it goes, and then you think, oh, just more wands connected, and then you just see all this new, unique things happen. So it starts off with that little appetizer of what we've seen before, and then it just goes in a new place that we haven't seen before. You want to talk about what gets old? How many times can you say stupefy and Expelliarmus over and over and over again? The magic in your scene is weak. It's repetitive. You see them failing a lot, and that's not cool. Training isn't cool. Doing the things you train to do is cool, which is where you get with Dumbledore and Voldemort being the best and dueling. We see duels all the time, but we never see the best go at it like we do here.
I'm sorry. The coolest thing to me is failing and trying until you get it right. And it's cool as shit to finally see Neville get Expelliarmus done at the end. If I didn't think it was cool to keep going at it, I wouldn't be champion right now because I lost to you 3 times. You are stuck on one part of it. You also forget that there's Stupefy, Expelliarmus, Reducto, and some silent magic that goes for that. You aren't including the coolest use of magic, the entire thing, which is the room of requirement itself. You haven't even mentioned the food and the boils that come out of Filch's head when Fred and George give him the candy. You haven't even mentioned the mistletoe coming out from the room of requirement to not just fight, to not just evade, to not just trick people, but to be a wingman. All of that together is so many different things coming in one room, and it makes it way more cooler than just fighting.
Harry's very cheesy move of growing the mistletoe for his relationship with Cho, which in the end doesn't even matter. It's just a placeholder to get to Ginny. So it's not that cool to see him kiss her when that relationship doesn't even matter. It's not even, nobody even cares about that relationship. Room of requirement is fine, but it's just there. It gives them that stuff's there. Like they could have got that anywhere. You know, they if that had been there,
they couldn't.
Yeah,
they could not have gotten it.
But if they did, it would have been the same effect. And again, it comes down to what do they do with it, and it's just them practicing. It's them practicing to hopefully one day be able to do the cool stuff we see in the Voldemort and Dumbledore fight.
No, what they're doing that. Go ahead.
And we're not also, let's talk about special effects, the cool special effects. We have the giant fire snake. We have the giant water ball. We have that the entire glass, all the glass in the building flying at Dumbledore and dissolving in the sand. You want to talk about the weakness of just, it's just the two lights detected. What do we see? Blue light, stupefy, blue light, Expelliarmus, blue light, whatever, levitate, blue light, over and over again. It's visually incredibly uninteresting.
We see a door shrinking from huge to extremely small in the back. We see boils coming out of somebody's face. We see Reducto, an entire statue crumbling into ash going through a crate. We see much more than just the blue lights. And I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure we were both in middle school at one point, and we had a crush on one girl. And it's cool as shit to finally actually get that kiss from that girl at that time. At that time, the coolest piece of magic in the entirety of the Wizarding World, the Room of Requirement, allowed him to make the coolest moment of his life at that point, because he never actually gets any joy. It also showed how Ginny and Hermione are so much stronger than everybody else. It featured the coolest parts of everybody in the story and not just the coolest parts of two old dudes fighting for one reason.
But again, your guys are training for one reason, to fight like those guys are fighting. That's the whole point of it. That's what it is. It's like comparing, like you're seeing, the scene in episode 2 where the little kids are swinging the lightsabers with Yoda. That's your scene. My scene is Anakin versus Obi-Wan. It's like, it's just Obi-Wan versus Anakin. They're just swinging lightsabers. Like, it's not like the most amazing thing you've ever seen. My scene is the equivalent of that, and that's what makes it cool. It's not cool just to watch them practice. It's schoolwork. It's not cool.
Time. Okay, we're going to start closings with Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Is it cool to watch Steph Curry and LeBron James go at it? Or is it cool to watch a high school basketball team scrimmage? Because basically that's the two things that we're seeing here. Yes, practice and working hard is admirable. But as a viewer, as a person watching it, seeing them achieve that goal and do all the things they practice, that's the cool thing, especially when you're seeing it at the highest possible level. The Room of Requirement is just that. It's utilitarian. It's not that cool. It's not that creative a use because no one's using it. It's just happening. It's a thing that's there, that's happening. No one's saying, let's do these creative cool things with it. It's just there. Again, in my room, you talk about your characters. We get to see the first confrontation between Dumbledore and Voldemort, how Voldemort reacts to Dumbledore just being so cool and coming in and being able to counter every single thing he does. Like I said, your magic is repetitive. We see the same thing over and over again. Yeah, there are a few little things, but it's mainly just those couple of spells repeated over and over again and failed a lot. Mine is just success, great look to it, great effects, beautiful scene, cool scene.
Okay, let's go over to Mr. Moses. You have 1 minute, Amaru, when you start talking.
Those kids in episode 2 trained with the swords to protect themselves, and they end up dying. We in movie 5, Neville gains the confidence to swing a sword and kill Nagini in 7 because he finally succeeded at the end of this montage. That is cool as hell to see people grow over time and get over the things they're messed up. That isn't going well for them. You said the Room of Requirement doesn't do anything. The Room of Requirement appears to fit the need needs of the Wisher at that time. And it's Neville who finds it and gives them that room. The fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort has cool special effects, but it has that lull at the beginning and the middle. And the only thing they do is fight. I have all of the lights and the different spells and the ash and the reducto, but I also have the growth of the characters. I have the room of requirement doing a whole bunch of different things that isn't fighting with shrinking and the mistletoe. I have Fred and George with the boils. I have so much more cool things than he does.
Time. Okay. All right. Let's bring in the judges. Starting off with a banger, as they say.
Nerves gone. Yay.
You just got to throw a few hands, right?
Yeah.
You throw a few hands and then you get into it. It's fine.
Robert looks ready. Brian, you're still thinking?
I am not ready yet.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. I thought this was great. Rue clearly knows a lot about the wizarding world. Kirk, I think, did his homework as far as getting ready to be up to snuff with Rue. I liked Kirk's attack, his whole kind of I don't know how it's valid, but like I did like Kirk's whole like episode 2 like the Star Wars like knock. It actually painted a really good picture of like he had said it before of like these are the students learning, seeing Dumbledore and Voldemort fight. That is the ultimate, like that's what you want to see. And so Kirk really sold me on why his scene was super dope. I only really heard a couple things to knock against it, which was like there's some random black sludge or the mist or whatever, and they do the thing that they do at the end of the last movie, which is fair. So I don't know that necessarily like it wasn't a huge punch against Kirk's. I still did go with Rue though, because I did feel like Rue really convinced me of why most of Kirk's, other than that, like. Well, actually, even that Star Wars one, like, is attacks were kind of didn't hold up. Like, Rue was able to take most of Kirk's attacks on his scene and take them down for me. Whether it was saying like they're doing this training and by the end of the movie, like they actually like use it and it works well, and so that they don't die like those kids. There were other stuff too, but I think Rue just did a good job of explaining why his scene was cool and also taking down Kirk's attacks on it. So, Brian, you love this movie. Tell us your thoughts.
I don't dislike the movies. I'm just not as into the Harry Potter movies because I'm fucking old. Yeah, I don't remember these movies really much at all, even though I've seen them all. So I'm going, once again, purely by what they're telling me in this debate, which, spoiler alert, most of the topics for tonight, I don't remember much. So you better be, real picture, paint a good picture for me. Yeah, I feel like in both cases, I didn't hear nearly as much for theirs as I heard attacks on the other person, which, was a valid strategy. They kind of gave me theirs in the introduction, but I think most of the middle section was spent attacking the other person's. So it just came down to who I think did a better job with that. And yeah, it was still kind of a coin flip for me. I did go with Kirk. I feel like while Rue did a good job, talking about how we've seen duels before, and that's it's nothing new. Even if it was cool, it was still something we've seen before. Kirk just really kept pounding home that it's Rue's is basically just a training montage, and it gets repetitive. And I know Rue tried to come back talking about the room requirement, but I didn't really get a good picture of what all was happening there because kind of a lot of random things thrown out. So gave it to Kirk in the end.
Okay, Robert, you get to do your favorite thing on the planet, which is decide it on the first one.
Friendships will be broken here.
Yeah, I know you stay up at night wishing you could judge a debate with us and get to decide it in a title match. So hit us. What do you think?
These aren't men, they're pieces of iron. I can't say it in Russian, though. Yeah, so, like, this is a great first bout, obviously, first round. It was like a contextualization of what's most important with regards to magic use. Is it already being a master of your domain, or is it figuring out and understanding versatility and how things coalesce to push you forward to be the wizard you can be? I like Kirk's approach regarding what he had chosen with regards to thinking about, like, it's kind of like the Breaking Bad thing where Walter White's like, it's like T-ball versus the New York Yankees. That was what he was saying. He's like, my scene is blue meth and theirs is chili pea, right? That's what we're trying to say. And I like putting it in that context regarding we want to see the best doing the best. Rue set it up as there's a lot of versatility with regards to the room requirement, his scene, what it means for the context of the characters, how it helps them grow. I don't necessarily agree with the idea that training is boring. I think character moments are important. So I went with part the Red Sea, Moses, or Rue. I went with Rue. Because, again, I think he just gave me more. I know these movies. He gave me more with regards to, like, it's not just about what it means for fighting, but it means what it means for their characters. And so that I went through.
All right. So Rue is up 1-0. We are going to move into the next question, which was drafted by Kirk in the category of directors. The question is, which character in the Godfather trilogy would be the most intimidating to have dinner with? Kirk, you get to go first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
For most intimidating to have dinner with, I went with maybe the most intimidating character in the entire franchise, who is Sonny Corleone. Sonny is famous within the underworld, and because of his actions and his history in the world at large, for being incredibly violent, for being incredibly dangerous, for having a short temper, for acting violently before he speaks, and for collecting a plethora of enemies in his wake. So I think Sonny would be the most intimidating. Even if he didn't have anything against me, he definitely would want to let me know that he's got that alpha male personality where he would want to let me know he's in charge and that he could be dangerous if he wanted to. So I always have that on the back of my mind. Always have to be worried about enemies showing up and causing problems. And even if that doesn't happen, I'm on misbehavior. If somebody around me causes a problem for him, am I going to get caught in the crossfire? And those are all very heavy possibilities with Sonny because of how dangerous he is and because of his temper.
Okay, let's move over to Moses. 5 minutes or 5 minutes. Jesus, no, 1. You get 1 minute, Rue.
Punchline master Lil Wayne once said, real G's move in silence like lasagna. And when I watched the Godfather trilogy, that is exactly what I thought of whenever I saw the most intimidating character in the entire series, Michael Corleone. He is easily the most intimidating character to have dinner with because while you know exactly, 1, the heinous things he's capable of, killing you as he did as the innocent soldier in 1, killing your family like he did with his own brother Fredo in 2, or ruining or taking over your business as he strong-armed the fucking Vatican in 3, at no point when you're looking at his unflinching, always calm, never revealing eyes with his terrifyingly soul-crushing stare will he reveal what he's thinking as he plans your downfall. The entire dinner, I would be terrified, measuring every comment, every gesture before I say it because of the power he holds. And the most powerful people move in silence. I would be so intimidated the entire dinner that it will carry over for weeks as I replay over every word and every moment, looking over my shoulder, hoping I didn't offend him and not knowing if I did, because he was calm, collected, and holding all the cards the entire time. I would not be able to take staring at that.
Ooh, all right. 5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
That'd be an absolute mess.
Rue, I real quick want to go over a quick list of some people who had dinner or a meeting with Michael and weren't intimidated. Captain McCluskey was there for security. He got so distracted by his veil that Michael and Salazzo were able to switch back to English because they knew he wasn't paying attention, and he compared Michael to one of the 1,000 young punks that he's dealt with in his career. Mo Green was so unafraid that he uses Italian slurs against Michael and has to be physically restrained from attacking him. Senator Gary is so unfazed by Michael that he insults his entire family to his face. Hyman Ross, soon after making an attempt on Michael's life, feels comfortable enough eating lunch alone with Michael behind closed doors. None of these people were intimidated because the exact reason everything you just said, you just made my entire argument for me. Michael will never let you know what's going on. He may have a gun ready to blow your brains out, but you won't know until a second after you're dead. Michael does not want to intimidate you. He doesn't want to scare you. He doesn't want to let you know what he's thinking. Whereas Sonny is going to be up front. You know he's just as dangerous as Michael. He wields the same power as Michael. He's high ranking in the most powerful mafia family in America. But he will let you know that he will wield that power against you. So he will be the one scaring you, where Michael will be doing everything he can to set you at ease and get you to underestimate him. You know it. Yes, you said we know as the viewers. The people sitting down with him do not know what he's up to for a second.
You can't set up that hypothetical like we don't know what he is and what he's doing. If I have dinner with him, I'm going to be scared because what happened to your first example? Both of them died at that dinner. Yeah. What happened to everybody you brought? Exactly. They died, or they were ruined, or they were done. And Michael was the one that survived.
Absolutely.
If I'm sitting down at a table with a guy who I know can absolutely ruin me or kill me or do anything to me or my family, I am going to be sitting there as a nervous wreck. And all that politeness and the way he doesn't want to intimidate me, I'm going to be thinking, why is he doing this? Oh my God. Did I do something wrong? Did I do this? Did I do that? When it comes to Sonny, my favorite quote is people fear what they don't understand. And if I understand what Sonny's going to come to do, I'm going to do like Michael did at the like post-credit scene of number 2. I am going to sit there and be like, bro, I'm going to be alpha with you because I know you respect that. I'm either going to do that or I'm going to sit there and be calm and be like, because I know Sonny respects that kind of thing. I know what to expect coming in there. If I am going to say, I'm going to go to Sonny or I'm going to go to Michael, I'm going to go to Sonny because I can turn that conversation quickly into a good time. And if he goes crazy, I'm going to go crazy because it would be crazy to go to dinner with either of these gentlemen, point blank, period. So with me, I'd rather go in knowing exactly what I'm going to expect and not be scared because I'm prepared than going in having absolutely no clue what this man is going to do to me before he set up, during it, or after.
Okay. So yes, you can turn it good, but it can just as quickly turn bad. You don't know what Sonny's going to do. You know what you're going to do, set him off. You know what people around you are going to set him off. You don't know what's going to happen. He's a complete wild card. You talk about, oh, I know all these things Michael did, so it's scary. Mo Green knew that Michael killed McCluskey and Salazzo. That did not stop him from trying to physically attack and strong-arm Michael.
Did he actually get to him, though?
Hyman, because he had to be held back. Because Michael just sat there, because Michael's not trying to be intimidating. Senator Gary knew all these things. Hyman Roth knew in detail everything Michael had done and had just tried to kill him and had no fear sitting down and having a meal with him.
All of those people
ended in ruin. But they ended in ruin. Let them underestimate him. Michael let them think that they had the upper hand.
Who is going to dinner with these people underestimating them when we know what they are capable of?
Everybody who's not going to do Michael, you have the evidence, Rue. It's there. Everybody's afraid of Sonny. Nobody's afraid of. You have to look at the material. You have to look at this exegetically. Look at the material. Everybody's afraid of Sonny. Nobody's afraid of Michael.
And at the end of those movies, who is around and who is not? Who actually got the upper hand on Sonny? People who actually were intimidated by him, they got the upper hand. His sister, his brother-in-law got him killed. His brother-in-law got him killed.
Look how intimidated they were by him. They had to they couldn't just walk up and just shoot him a couple times back in the head. They had to wipe him off the face of the earth because that's how scared they are of him, how terrified they are of him. Michael survives because he's not like Sonny and going to fly off the handle. Could something bad happen to Michael if he flew off the handle? Sure, but he's not going to because he's smart and he knows not to do that. He knows to sit back, let you underestimate him, let you think you have the upper hand until it's time. Yeah, he might be planning on killing you in 5 minutes, but like I said, he will not let that on to you. He will not let you know. If you look at the source material, it's just there.
All of those things you just mentioned for Sonny saying, oh, you can come up and try to, you're not going to do that with Michael because he is planned already. There's no way you're going to be able to come up and shoot him or do anything to him at any point in time.
Nobody wants to.
All right, we're going to start with Amaru. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I am more intimidated and scared by a person who has the upper hand of the entire dinner the entire time. He doesn't want me to be intimidated. That makes me more scared. That makes me think, oh crap, is he lulling me into a sense of security before he does something to me later? Every single measurement, comment, movement for everything before the dinner, during the dinner, and after dinner, I am going to be going through my head. Oh shit, did I do that right? Are my people there? I'm going to be looking over my shoulder for weeks at a time, because the entire time, the people who don't tell you what's going on, you cannot prepare for. You can prepare for Sonny. And you said, Kirk said, it can go right at first, and then like that, it can go wrong. Well, I'm going to go wrong with him. I'm going to make him start laughing. I'm going to go I'm going to fight him too, because I'm prepared to fight. I'm prepared to go with the gun shootout if he goes that way, because I know what to expect. I am on my toes, but I know what to do when going to the dinner. And I'd rather know what to do going to a dinner than thinking with this gun, should I pull it out? Should I not? I don't know. Michael's going to do something.
Okay. Let's go over to Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Never let anyone outside the family know what you're thinking. These are the tenets that Michael lives by. Rue has made my argument for me. You hear him say his best case scenario is, hey, if it goes south, I'll get in a shootout with Sonny. That is what he's preparing for. Sonny wants you to be afraid of him. Michael wants you to underestimate him. Michael wants you to think you have the upper hand. If Michael has no problem with you, he has no reason to scare you. If he does have a problem with you, he's even going to try to make you do everything he can to make you more comfortable. Rue thinks he's smarter than all these other characters in this movie. He thinks he's going to teleport from the real world into this movie and have all the knowledge he has. That's not how it is. If he sits down with him, the evidence is against everything he said. Everything he said, all the characters, I've laid out multiple characters who have interacted with Michael, who know his history and who don't know his history. And they were not intimidated him, because that's the way, that is Michael's superpower, is to get you to underestimate him. Is he more dangerous than Sonny? Yes, but you will never know it because he won't let you know.
Okay. Let's bring in the judges.
That was a hell of a debate, just gotta say.
Yeah.
Oh,
How's your ankle, Kirk, or foot?
That's get better. Get better. Thank you.
You ready to Irish jig on opening day, Kirk? Our new lineup?
Can't wait.
That's right. Coming. We're coming.
The McCarthy era begins.
I was talking about baseball, actually.
I don't care. I'm talking about McCarthy in Pittsburgh.
Of course you are. I'm less excited.
Call it light.
I just saw your comment, Brian. 30-minute open debate, 5-minute openings and closings.
Please give me a 5-minute opening. I'm just going with the flow there.
Oh, man.
I won't be judging those, by the way.
Yeah. It's just one question in that case.
One question.
Yeah. Put all your effort into that.
All right. Robert, you're starting.
All right. Have dinner with both of these guys if you want. Just don't let them go to the bathroom. Right? That's everything else it does.
Yep.
Yeah, this was incredible. This was like two superpowers, like showing their nuclear arms and being like, what do you think? What do you think? You got it? It was incredible. I was happy to be a part of it, just to be a fly on the wall. The way Kirk started out, I'm just like, this is done, set, wrap. Like the way he came out in his opening, Rue had a great opening, but then as soon as he was like, Rue, you made my argument for me. When people do that and lay it out on the table, I'm usually like, I don't know how they come back. But Rue kept like chipping away. He had a lot of things that resonated with me with regards to like, what am I looking for? Who is the most dangerous? What do I see in myself that I could like navigate around with regards to these characters? I think they're the two appropriate options. So I was like really in with Rue, and he was dragging me along. But I just think I couldn't get over what had happened in the opening, so I went with When Evil Kirks. That's Kirk. I'm going with Kirk because I think he's right. I think there's something about the unknowability of what's going to happen with Sonny, as opposed to like, if you're calm, Michael might be doing machinations behind the scene, but with regards to what you're happening at that dinner, you're probably going to be okay. And I'm telling you about it through the universe of what's happening at like the meal you're having. So I went with.
Yeah, I mean, I echo the sentiments of this was a great debate. I really liked both openings. I think both did a good job of painting the picture of why their person is intimidating. I initially thought it was kind of like I wasn't totally immediately on board with Kirk's the way he was doing his argument of like, yeah, he's dangerous, but he'll never let you know, and that's why you can't be like. I was just like, I needed to hear more, and I feel like by the end I did. I went with Kirk. Kirk's last line, especially, like, really got me. Of just basically saying like his whole closing, where he basically painted out, Michael doesn't want you to be intimidated. And because he wants you to underestimate him, and that's his superpower. And I think the line that like really hit for me too was like Kirk said, if you have no reason for Michael to be mad at you, you have nothing to worry about. Delightful dinner. But you could have nothing to be upset with Sonny, or Sonny could have nothing to be upset with you about, and it could still be awful. And so I thought that was a really good point. And again, Rue did a great job. I thought this was phenomenal. But I think, yeah, Kirk's just convinced me over the long haul of why Michael would be less intimidating and more of just like a surprise. Like, so, and so it was weird. I didn't expect it to go that way. But it did. Brian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's the openings I thought were pretty good, but then once we hit that open debate area, it was really back and forth, super strong hits. I mean, Kirk started off with the extensive list of here's all these people that were not intimidated by Michael Corleone, and and they had no problem with him. Yet things may happen; they may have gotten killed, but they were not intimidated by him when they had dinner with him. But then Rue hits back with well, yes, I know that these people were not intimidated, but I know what happened to them; they got killed or whatever. So I would go in intimidated by them. And it really came down back and forth the whole open debate area. I agree. I think Kirk got it in his closing. I think what finally tipped me one way, he was talking about how Rue is talking about how he would come prepared for a gunfight. So if Sonny pulls a gun, then I'm going to have a shootout with him. It's like he's already got you scared before you're even there. So I think that's the very definition of intimidating.
Okay, all right. So clean sweep for Kirk. We're tied 1 apiece. We are moving on to the next question. This was drafted by Amaru. Oh, he's just speaking to my soul. It's in the category of action adventure. And the question is, what is the coolest location in a live action Middle-earth film? Didn't want to talk about Ralph Bakshi's Fangorn Forest, I guess. All right, we are going to start with Amaru. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
Imagine standing below a beautifully designed 1,000 feet green front gate with patios, pillars, and intricate patterns at the base of a snow-covered mountain flanked on both sides by 200 feet carved, axe-wielding dwarves, and a mountainside waterfall to your right, and then turn around and see the overwhelming, cool-ass beauty of Erebor. Vast plains with stone pathways leading to lakes on your left, greenery and trees leading to a massive waterfall flowing down to a river on your right, rolling hills in the distance with the white marble stone facades of the city of Dale sitting right on their foundation, and that's just the outside. You step inside into a cave that feels as massive as the sky as you walk on a raised marble platform in the Hall of Kings, flanked on both sides by 16 2,000-foot tall dwarf kings leading to a throne connected to a mountain stalagmite, outlined with rivers of gems flowing through the mountain walls like veins in your arms as that widens into stone arches carving back into the kings. Look down and see a trench as deep as the vibranium tumbles in Wakanda, intertwined with stone paths like the moving stairs in Hogwarts. These caverns are filled with mazes of forges and metalwork and machinery that is ridiculous.
Time. Sweet mercy. Okay, let's move over to Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I picked Rivendell. I'm not going to go into great detail like Rue to describe it because I don't need to. He needs to describe his computer. I don't remember a lot of that, but you have burned your brain what Rivendell looks like. It is that beautiful, picturesque landscape, the nature, the trees, the waterfall, the lakes, that beautiful elven architecture through it. It's just such a relaxing, calm, peaceful atmosphere. Just be such a cool place to go and relax and hang out. And then you have the culture. You have elf culture that revolves around art and music and magic and nature and all these things that you can experience and interact with. And then you have the elves themselves. Elves, tend to have a superiority complex, but the elves in Rivendell are kind of chill. You see how they treat the people there. They would be, if you're there, I think they're going to be pretty cool to hang out with. So you have all these different things that come together to make this just really the coolest place to experience, and it would be the coolest place to go in Middle Earth.
All right. Okay. Nobody wanted to pick Bree, I see. 5 minutes when one of you starts.
I haven't even mentioned the metal machinery, the pulleys, the death traps, the pulleys, the systems that are like as intricate and cool as the death traps that Jigsaw has, but 10 times as bright, and pools of sunlight coming to each and every space to just make it so damn mesmerizing. You say that everybody remembers Rivendell. That's only because they're in the good movies and they keep coming up. You talked about the elves being the coolest. I'm sorry, beer, food, and laughs, nothing is cooler than the elves. My question, have you ever been to a botanical garden and you walk in and you see the nature and you see the stones and you see the water? You're like, that's cool. But then in 10 minutes, you're like, there's only so much of that nature and that same stone that is cool for me. I'm about done with this. That's what Rivendell is like.
Let me counter that. Have you ever been to a functioning mine? Because at its peak, that's what your location is. It is a functioning mine. Imagine all that fire and ash and heat and noise and smoke. You know what's not cool? Black lung disease. And that is good. That's what it is. And this is at its peak. Also, if we're considering all the movies, at its worst, it's a dragon's lair with a cursed dragon's horde. Inside of Erebor, you are dealing with a culture of selfishness and greed. You have a leader who has dragon sickness and has gone insane and again, this is at its peak, at its very best. You have a leader who has gone crazy with dragon sickness and is hoarding everything and doesn't trust anybody, which is a very dangerous place to play. There's nothing cool about this. I do not want to go to your place at all. You described all these places outside. Yeah, that's nice. You go out. That's the outside part. But then you got to go inside to the functioning mine, where mine is just all that great stuff you described outside. That's all you have to do with me.
You have literally said everything except the place. You have put qualifications to make my place not cool. I'm not going to go there with the dragon. I'm also not going to go to Rivendell after I've been there before and be like, I don't want to go ahead and see the same thing I've seen over and over. If you have to put qualifications to make your place cool because of the elves and because it's peace and calm, it doesn't make it cool. If you have to make qualifications to make myself not cool, you are completely ignoring everything that makes the place cool itself. You are also saying it's a functioning mind. You are ignoring the entire outside that is just as bright and vibrant and calm and peaceful as Rivendell itself. You talked about greed. The elves are some of the greediest people in the entirety of Middle Earth. They won't even help. They have to be convinced to help other people. Rivendell is nothing but I'm going to come in and I'm just going to hear this music and I'm going to be bored out of my mind looking at the same thing over and over and over. I want to visit once. I never want to come back. I visit Erebor and at the end of the films, because you want to put a qualification, at the end of the films, again, that's the peak. When Dane is back over it and there is no dragon and they have all that wealth and they've been through all that stuff. That's the peak. I'm going to see those cool ass dwarves again because there's no more war. But you want to put qualifications. I'm saying the place inside itself, no qualifications needed.
Yeah, I'm putting because it's all, when you go there, these are the things you're going to experience. All you told me about was architecture. You talk about it being like a museum, about a place you only want to view.
Smog is dead. How do you experience Smog when he's dead?
I'm talking about experiencing it at its height, all the great stuff. All you told me about was architecture.
That's not its height.
All these stones.
It's not its height.
It's
not its height. The height is the end of the war. Smog is dead.
Whatever.
Dane is there, and they're celebrating. That's the height.
Okay, well, that moment doesn't last forever. I'm not going to, maybe by odds, get that one spot. Smog's there a lot longer. If you're getting dropped in randomly, you're much more likely to see Smog than the height at the end of the movie. But I'm saying you're going on and you're talking about the architecture and the arches and this and that. That's all you gave me is architecture. I'm giving you culture. I'm giving you society. The elves are chill. Rivendell elves are chill. Look how they treat the hobbits. Look how they treat Merry and Pippin. Merry and Pippin come in. They interrupt the Council of the Ring. like the most important business in the history of Middle Earth, and they get caught spying and interrupt, and Elrond kind of just like laughs it off. He's a cool guy. He'd be a cool guy to hang out with. Now, elves in general, yeah, there's some worse elves, but the elves in Rivendell are cool, and I don't want to hang out with them. I'd want to listen to their music. Because you know what? I go back, there's new music, there's different things, there's stories, there's all kind of stuff to experience there. You call that qualifiers. I'm giving you the entire experience of what Rivendell would be.
You are arguing culture. You are not arguing the place. If you want to do that, I'm
arguing the culture.
How about you go when all the elves are gone to Rivendell and it's a barren, silent place. There's nobody there. You have no culture.
We don't
experience it. That's at the end of the movie. They also leave for that when it's in the middle of the war and Sauron's gone. When Elrond's daughter is leaving, there's nobody in that place. No qualification set whatsoever. I'm going to have fun with the dwarves if they're there at their peak. I'm going to have fun with all the stuff and look at all the amazing cool shit that's around.
Kirk, we're going to start with you. 1 minute when you start talking.
Really, the only thing that Rue gave us was architecture. He's described it beautifully, but he's talking about going one and done. I only want to go there once, and I'm good. Again, he talks about, oh, you're giving culture. I'm giving the culture you experience in the place. This beautiful art and music and stories and poetry and magic and nature, all these great things. Just a great place. There's a reason people go there to just chill out and relax. Why our characters go there for respite. Why they just kind of take that pause there, because that's a cool place to be. And it's a cool place to hang out and just relax. There's nothing cool or relaxing about Arendelle. It's work, it's society, it's a culture, but it'll work about greed. And again, it is a functioning mind. When they show in the movie, the most you see, what they show the most is the dwarves at work. They show the foundries and all the stuff burning. That would be so uncomfortable. That smell would be everywhere. That smoke and ash and everything. And again, you have the dwarven society is closed off. They're greedy. They're selfish. They're not going to want to share with you. They're not going to want to be there. Rue talks about food. Elves have great food, great drink, everything better than the dwarves. But the dwarves are supposed to be.
Okay, let's move over to Amaru. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
You could compare Erebor's peak to Rivendell's peak. You could compare Erebor's worst parts to Rivendell's worst parts. I'm going peak to peak, or I'm not qualifying it at all. I'm going to the place. You want to talk about culture of dwarves? Culture of dwarves are partiers with beer and feasts and gems. You see the songs and choreography they sing at Bilbo's house. You want to put the culture to qualify why Rivendell is a lot more exciting than the actual place itself is. I would rather go to a place over and over that I can go and see the metalwork and see how cool it is and look how everything is, have the beer, have the feast, have the wines, then go outside and relax, then go to a place once, enjoy the scenery, have fun with the elves, and then when I come back, say, I've seen all this before. I've done all this. They're kind of stuck up. They're kind of whatever. The place itself as Erebor has so much shit to do and so much shit to see that it has Rivendell right outside and the cool ass mine right inside it. The dwarves won't die. I won't either.
Oh my god. You know what's cool? Black lung disease. That fucking killed me. Holy shit. I wrote it down. I haven't written my answer yet, but I wrote it down just so I could remember it. Oh my god.
Got the black lung, Pop.
That's exactly what I thought too.
God damn. Been down there one day, tried being down there for 30 years.
Got the black lung, Pop. Oh man, guys.
Rue's like the American David Attenborough. Just describe him like it's like I'm watching Planet Earth or something.
Okay.
I'm still thinking.
Okay.
No, this is a fight.
Yeah.
I was confident the way the other two were going to go. This one, I have no idea.
Which is funny. The Harry Potter one was the one I felt least confident about.
Well, me too. So
great.
You win the coin flip on that one, definitely.
Robert,
right. I'm good.
Okay. Brian, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, for me, it's one of those questions. Whenever you use something like in this case, coolest, it's like, How do you define cool? What do you consider when you're talking about cool? And also in this question, what are you considering the location? Because I mean, are we talking just the physical location, what it looks like? Are we talking about the people and the culture that are there? Because like I know at one point Rue is like, we're not talking about the culture, we're talking about the place, but then he talks about the beer, food, and laughs and all the culture of his place. So it's I know when I'm talking about like I love New York City, for instance. If I said that, I'm not thinking of just the physical place. I'm thinking the whole atmosphere. So that's how I kind of took it. I did ignore things like, if Smog was there, because we're talking about the location, and it's like at points of the film, yes, he's there, but then at the end, he's not. So I had to kind of pick what to consider. In the end, I did go with Kirk on this one. I think that I think that both of them kind of created a very similar argument for their place, at least on the exterior. But I think, as Kirk pointed out, once you get actually into Erebor, it's a mine, it's smoke, it's ash, it's the smell of the place. It's not going to be a pleasant place to be. Whereas with Rivendell, I think that he made a much more better argument as to why that would be a pleasant place to be. I think the people and both the elves and the dwarves, I think they kind of cancel each other out as far as who's more greedy, who's better to be around. And as far as there's the whole qualifiers argument, I kind of didn't ignore that, because everything he was calling qualifiers, I just kind of thought those are more like factors that you would consider when you're trying to decide if you enjoy a place or not. So that's right.
Robert.
I felt like I was on a teetering seesaw this whole time. The qualifying thing I thought was important, but I also thought it was funny, because I was like, isn't putting qualifiers on things how we argue and debate? I couldn't think. I just kept thinking about that. And I was like, I was thinking the same along the lines of what Brian was saying. I was like, what is a place? It was one of those like, what's a location? And what is cool? I don't know. Is it just what you inhabit? Is it the people who you inhabit it with? Is it the attitude, the ambiance that comes with it? I had so many questions. That's why I had to think about this, because there's so much to consider. This was a lot of, and sometimes people have give 2 cents. So what was
It's a
I
family show.
It's a family show. Yeah. So Rue, like I intimated when we were coming in, like his description of what Erebor is was like I had glossy eyed, and not because I was bored with it, but because I didn't know like how to parse out everything he said, because he said so much. And then I liked how Kirk countered that at the beginning. He's like, I don't need to explain it because it's Rivendell and you know it. Then we were teetering again. It was like Kirk hit hard with the functioning mind in Black Lung. We joked about it, but that's a thing. It's a functional thing. But there got to a point where we were talking about like peaks and valleys of the place, and I felt like there was a stumble that we never recovered from. So when I was going to do my things here, I was going to do it all based on baseball players, because I'm really into baseball right now. Pitchers and catchers are coming soon. But I didn't think I could come up with like 5 or 6 things of baseball. But I have one. I went with Victor Rubles. That's Rue. I went with Rue in this one. Again, I thought like when he was talking about, I think this is just a knowledge thing, when he was like, when we're talking about the peak of everything after Smaug and what that means in comparison to, in connection with everything that's happening outside, with what's happening inside at the peak, and we're not worrying about all the considerations of the dangers of Erebor as the mine, I decided to go with Rue in that case. So,
okay. I will decide this one. I loved this. Frankly, I just rewatched Lord of the Rings in the theater. It was beautiful. I've been rewatching The Hobbit at home. I've been rewatching the appendices. It's been magical. So I am already deep in this, but this was just a great refresher. And I think both painted a very accurate description of their places. Like, I think both did a great job of kind of talking about them and their locations and why they are cool. I went with Kirk. I felt like Kirk was able to kind of give me personally what would be cooler to go to and be in throughout forever for a while. The culture, great. Music, atmosphere, great. Beauty, great. I really liked his hit on when Merry and Pippin interrupt the council and Elrond is like kind of chill about it. I thought that was great. I'm not letting this, judge because nobody said it, but like, yeah, they do the same thing for Bilbo, like the welcoming place, Rivendell. And I felt like Kirk painted that. And again, I felt like I joked about it because I thought it was funny, but the black lung thing, but yeah, Kirk kind of taking Erebor down to, it's a mine. Like, yeah, there's stuff in it. And I didn't let the smog thing like totally take it away. But at the same point, he talked about how it is a mine. There is what we see in the movies is it's a mine, people working, danger, frankly. Is it cool from a sense of like an architectural stance and from a like, wow, the fact that this culture got this thing working? Yes, I think so. But I feel like Kirk just gave me more on Rivendell and why it was like in the long haul the cooler place. So it was tough. I felt like this was a really good one, and I love Lord of the Rings. Anyway, I just had to put it out there in case you didn't know. We're gonna move on. Whoa, why am I taking you out? You're staying. Okay, we're moving on to the next question. It is 2-1 in favor of Kirk. The next category was drafted by Kirk, category of drama. Which drama, directed by Sidney Lumet, has the best main character? Kirk, you are kicking this off. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I picked one of the all-time great protagonists in film, Juror Number 8, played by Henry Fonda in 12 Angry Men. This is a character we don't know much about at the beginning, but we learn who he is and what kind of person he is and what he's capable of as we go through it. He interacts with these different people. He's an everyman that we all aspire to be. In a world where people only see black and white, he sees the grays, and he digs in there, and he kind of and that's where he lives and exists, and that's where he operates. He's not a crusader. He doesn't have something to fight for. He just wants to do what's right, and he wants to work through it. And maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. He comes from a place of humility, but he just wants to do the right thing. And not only does he want to do it, but he's very good at it. He's very methodical. He's very intelligent. He does a great job. It's so much fun to watch him break down each juror one by one and break down their arguments and why they don't think they should vote not guilty. And then he does it. I think that's what makes him such a great character.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move over to Amaru. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
The best characters in film are always not the best. They don't have to be pure of heart or absolute in their belief. They just have to feel relatable and layered. And Frank Galvin from The Verdict is the best because he is so textured. You spend the first 2 minutes or so watching him, just watching him, basically in silence. And that contemplative opening sets the stage to go on a fully fleshed journey of a man who goes from alcoholic, ambulance-chasing lawyer, covering up his deep flaws in public while being deeply miserable in private, to a poignant, morally triumphant, and emotional little guy fighting against the corrupt system. But it's not flashy. It's not rah-rah. It's not unrealistic with grandiose closing statements. He stumbles. He self-sabotages. He gets defeated. But every mistake and risk and questionable decision he makes to find justice for his clients results in the grittiest and authentic story arc of any Lumet character. He's authentically human, that just like most beaten down by the system professionals who don't share their stories, the reveal of how he got to his disheveled state is given by his legal partner. And using that in conjunction with all that those silent moments proves how connected and realistic he is.
All right. 5 minutes, gentlemen, when one of you starts talking.
My biggest problem with your character is that the movie first I'll say great performance by Paul Newman, but the movie just kind of happens to him. First 15 minutes of the movie, in one scene, he goes from ambulance chaser to crusader. And in a character, I want to see that be a journey, and it's not a journey. It happens one scene because movie. And then from there, the movie just happens to him. He just goes and things happen. It doesn't work out. Things are against him. He doesn't figure anything out. It comes into the movie. He makes mistakes. that things don't work out. He gets outclassed. He gets outmanned. There's never a moment where he has that eureka moment where, oh, I'll do this one thing and I'll call this witness. You think he brings in the witness and it falls flat. He does. There's no moment he doesn't make an inspirational speech during his final arguments. He kind of shrugs his shoulders and gives up. And then then he wins at the end because movie. But the movie just kind of happens. He has very little agency, where my character is the agency of the movie. He drives the movie. You learn something about him, and because of him, you learn things about the other characters throughout the movie constantly. Where your character is kind of milquetoast.
If you take Frank Galvin out of the verdict, you don't have this movie. In your arguments, you tend to have a problem with resilience. I don't understand that. Like, it is a man who's consistently beat down, and after everything that happens to him over and over and again, he just keeps pushing. He's the one who traveled to go get the nurse and bring them back. And when that falls flat, he continues to look and look and look. And how many times as a person in your life have you just said, man, what do I do? You know what? I'm not going to try to go rah-rah. I'm going to be just a human with you. That end speech is so him creating this movie and creating that verdict that he was done. But he connected to that humanity to show, like, look at what is happening. He's the one that connects them to him. My biggest thing with your character, and you said the movie happens to him, is that each of the characters are dependent on my issue with juror number 8 is that on his own, he is not really a fully fleshed character. Each person is intricately dependent on the ensemble. We know nothing outside of juror 8 aside from how upstanding he is. And as a singular character, he's kind of one note, which is perfect for this film because the film is itself a character whose layers are all the different jurors. And while 8 might be the focal point, 3 and 9, Lee J. Cobb and juror number 9, and 7 and maybe 4 are just as important and just as compelling, with Lee J. Cobb maybe being even more compelling and more of a character. It doesn't work if any of those jurors are taken out, which lessens 8 as a character. And you can't take Frank Galvin out of the verdict at all, or you don't have a movie.
Take juror number 8 out of 12 Angry Men. Movie's 15 seconds long.
Take 9 out of it. Take 9 out of it. The movie's done.
That's a matter. Movie's over. They all vote guilty. You talk about Frank being resilient. My problem is that he's not resilient. He quits literally on the eve of the final trial. He calls and he tries to give up. The whole thing is, I'm not going to take the settlement. I'm not going to take the settlement. He gives up. He calls and tries to take the settlement, and they take the deal off the table. That's the only reason why he has to go to court the next day. When he goes to court, he's literally sitting like this. He's completely broken and defeated. He walks up to the jury stand and kind of shrugs his shoulders and says a few words and sits down. The only reason it makes no sense. That's the weakness of this movie. It makes no sense for him to win at the end because he does nothing. He fails at every point and he gives up at the end.
It makes perfect sense for him to be this great of a character because how many times have you been beaten down and said, you know what? I kind of feel like I got nothing. What can I grab at? What can I do? And when he gets there, he looks and he's not quitting and he's not giving up. He's like, you know what? Look at me. Look at what's happening. Look at the system and look how beaten down it's gotten to me. He's such a good character because you don't have to find somebody to be good that has to continue to move forward. You have to find somebody that is relatable. And what is more relatable than just continue to get beat down over and over and over and over again and still be there? If he would have quit, he wouldn't be there. He was able to find the humanity in those jurors with that. I'm not going to rah-rah you. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to be real here. And I like that reality more. I'm talking about Frank Galvin, and I'm like that more as a character than a person who does one thing and one thing only, and he continues to just say, "I'm good. I'm going to continue to do this." If you take anybody out of that movie does not exist as it was, and character 8 doesn't have what he has.
Let me talk. He's necessary. All those characters are interesting because of him and what he brings out of them. If he's not there, they just sit there and have their opinions. He makes them talk. He makes them think. He forces them to think about why they want what they want, what their motivations are. He's the reason why every character in that movie is interesting. And you talk about characters who are resilient, beaten down. He stands up against 11 angry men who don't want to be there, who all have their minds up. And he stands up against every single one of them. And he changes their mind. He actively does things to change their mind where Frank really does nothing.
We got 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Yeah, I'm not putting my point out at 5 seconds.
Okay. All right. Rue, we're going to start with you. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
What Kirk is describing of juror number 8 is the movie itself. The movie is a character in itself. Its writing is put together so well that each individual character is one part of the movie that is a character. You have one that continues to push others. You have one that continues to push against others. You have one that is juror number 4, who is the laugh, and I'm only here because I don't want to be fine. I have number 9. You have number 9, who finally shows the growth, more growth than 8 ever does. You have every single juror putting one part of an entire character of a movie that if one of them is taken out, the rest of them don't work as well. Where it's in Frank Galvin, you get a character who is not like any other character, that always has to be the one that's rah-rah, that always has to be the one that shows the goodness and the way that you want to push forward through everything. Shows you the one that is resilient through being there and connecting through humanity. How many times have you felt beaten down and just wanted to give up? But you know what? You stood there and you said, I'm going to do it. There's nothing more relatable than the downtrodden and still pushing forward. There's nothing more relatable than what Frank Galvin goes to. And there's so many people who've lived what he's lived.
Okay, let's go over to Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Juror number 8 represents an exact kind of resilience that Rue was talking about, where even if everybody else thinks you're wrong, even if everybody else wants to do the wrong thing, you still stand up against it. And like I said, juror number 8 actually does it where Frank in his movie gives up. He literally quits. There's a scene where he calls and says, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. And they don't let him quit. That's what the reason he has to keep trying. But at the end, he doesn't do anything, and the movie just happens to him, where juror number 8 draws the movie. He talks about the importance you take anybody out. Yes, because juror number 8 drives these characters. He, through his questioning, through his intelligence, through the methodical process, he draws out any. Yes, without juror number 8, all these characters would be boring because they would just sit there in their same ideas, their same prejudice, everything. Juror number 8 is the one that makes them think, makes them change. He is the driving force of this movie, and he's not all rah-rah either. He's very quiet. He's very humble. He's like, hey, I just want to talk. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong, but let's talk. Let's do the right thing. Everything that Rue is describing as Frank is what juror number 8 is, but so much better and so much more interesting and so much more important to the movie and just so much of a more better written. Yes, it's written better. He talks about how it's written. It's written better written than the character.
Okay. Hoofda, as Larry the Cucumber once said.
The correct answer was Philip Seymour Hoffman and Before the Devil Knows You're Dead because of the opening scene. Just FYI, I just want you to know. That's fine. That's not what we're here to do.
I just found out this week the city limit was Bobby Cannavale's father-in-law.
Yeah, I saw your review. That was cool. Okay. This one had me stressed out. Seen 12 Angry Men, but I haven't seen it in 10 years easily. Have not seen The Verdict, so a lot of this is going off of the argument. Obviously, but just like the visuals in my brain and stuff, what they were talking about. I went with Rue. I just felt like listening to it again, not knowing a ton about what was going on with these characters. I felt like I liked Rue's opening of saying, like, it's not just like who is the most morally good character, but also who is the character that is the most interesting and well written and all that stuff. Kirk threw out the thing at the end of like, well, mine's more well written as well. But I just felt like Rue's argument of saying that, like, if you take out any of the other characters, Kirk's character then doesn't work as well, made me feel like Kirk's character is dependent upon the others and upon and upon them being there and also being great characters. Again, it was tough. I was trying to like sift through. There was a lot of yelling, but I just, at the end of the day, I went with Rue. Brian, your thoughts?
Well, I'll bury the lead. We're going to have at least one speed round because I voted for Rue as well. I just think I was in the kind of same boat as Tim in that I saw 12 Angry Men. It's been a long time. Have not seen the verdict. On paper, I kind of thought this is probably going to go to 12 Angry Men just because I know how, that movie is held in such high esteem and what a great job Jack Lemmon did in that character. But, hearing the argument is just, hearing about from what Rue tells me in the verdict, how his character is, very textured. He's flawed. He's relatable. He has all these things that make him an interesting character, as well as not only just what happens to him within the movie, but just in the character created of who he is and the kind of person he is. But what really got me is what he pointed out, and accurately so, I think that Jack Lemmon's character in 12 Angry Men is really kind of one-dimensional. He is the good guy. He's as Kirk even said, he's doing the right thing, and he's the one who makes them. He's there to make them talk and make them change their minds.
Henry Fonda, by the way.
I'm sorry. Jack
Lemmon's the other one.
He didn't count his vote.
The actor didn't affect the fact that they're talking about the character. See, that's how well I don't remember the movie. So whatever. Yeah, I'm thinking of there's that Bing Rames version. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Right character, wrong version. But anyway, how he talked about he was kind of one-dimensional, and and Kirk talked about how he makes everybody change their minds, but it seems like those are plot things, but doesn't change the fact that he's still just the good guy who's the one person trying to change their minds. And I just think that the verdict character was more interesting, was a better character because he was textured and flawed and relatable.
Robert, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
I haven't seen either of these movies. I have nothing against Sidney Lumet. Love Sidney Lumet. From the things I've seen, just haven't got to these. I'm very sad I haven't. Remember what I said about baseball players? Turns out I actually did have enough. I went with everybody. I went with Amaru Odor, great Texas Rangers second baseman. I just think, given my lack of knowledge of the films, it just seemed like there's a thing about kind of the ethos, the pathos of Paul Newman in the verdict that I just described, which makes him seem very relatable. Someone who deals with a lot has come at him. Maybe he was reactive towards it. Maybe the movie projected him as such, but how he relates on a level that I can understand made sense to me. And yeah, you guys sort of talked about it, and it's sort of the nature of what a jury is, right? And there's 12 people with 12 opinions. I know that Henry Fonda, based on how it was described, is supposed to be kind of the anchor and the weight and the driving force. But Rue set up in a way that made it seem like if you remove anybody, it's a house of cards and it falls. And I think that's the nature of an ensemble piece like that. So I also went with Rue.
Okay. All right. So we are tied 2-2. We are moving on to the final prep question. The category is actors and actresses. Rue drafted this. The question is, which film featuring Chi McBride has the best? Chi McBride. This always happens. Has the best ending. So Rue, you're gonna kick this one off. Tell us.
I always used to call him Chi before I realized his name was Chai myself, so don't worry about it.
That's fair. All right, Rue, you got 1 minute. When you start.
The best endings take everything great about your film and magnifies it. So my choice is The Distinguished Gentleman. It has fast-talking con man Thomas Jefferson Johnson, played by Eddie Murphy, who cons his way into politics only to find that the biggest con men of all time are old white political players who use lobbyist money to further their own agenda, played by some of the best old white con men in Hollywood, including the prosecutor from My Cousin Vinny, Lane Smith, as Dick Dodge. The ending has Eddie Murphy putting on an absolute show as he bogards a congressional hearing, outing Dick and Company's corrupt financial shenanigans live on national television. Dick and Company then argue amongst themselves in a recess in the back, saying, if I go down, you go down. Then ultimately use their pompous privilege to publicly oust Eddie Murphy. But what they don't know is that Jeff, Eddie Murphy's character, was secretly taping their confessions and played it for the world to see, just as Dick thought he had the upper hand. The humorous, fast-talking, entertaining, rapidly paced back and forth is capped when Dick is held back by cops from attacking Jeff. And with a slick smile, Jeff says, Dick is good. Dick is good. Hilarious.
All right, let's bring in Kirk. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I went with Draft Day. If you haven't seen Draft Day, it's about the GM of the Cleveland Browns on Draft Day. Starts out, he's in a bad spot. He makes some bad decisions, gives up all his draft picks, gives up all his weight. And by the end, it's all been turned around. He gets it all back, gets his power back, and everything works out in a very creative and interesting way. What do you want from an ending? You want it to be memorable and exciting. You got that. We all remember that. Say it with me, you pancake eating mother effer. We all pump our fists when we hear that. And you want it to be a great payoff. You want it to be well structured, and that's how this is. Sonny starts from a position of weakness, and as the movie goes on, by the end of the movie, he has switched, and he is completely in the opposite position, in the position of power of the person who had it over him. So I think just it has everything you want out of a great ending. When people talk about this movie, they talk about how great the ending is because just what that awesome payoff is. I'll talk about that more in the main argument.
Okay. All right. 5-minute free form when one of you starts talking.
My ending is a culmination of all the film's hilarious conning, manipulating, improvisation, slick talking, backstabbing, pure Eddie Murphy and Lane Smith doing what they do best. Even up to the last line of the movie where Eddie Murphy breaks the fourth wall after being asked, what are you going to do next? And he slickly states, I'm going to run for president. Yours is anticlimactic and unaffecting. It should have ended 25 minutes before the ending when Vontae Mack got picked. But instead, it made GMs and Costner look like bumbling idiots who lucked into having 4 guys run out in your last scene and a rah-rah Cleveland go team in 4 people we don't give a damn about. Chadwick Boseman is gone from the movie from 40 to 50 minutes at the time. The running back you picked, you have one scene on a phone to care about a guy who may or may not have criminally put a guy in a hospital. You have one guy you picked in the draft who you don't even see in the movie, and one guy, your quarterback in Tom Welling, who appears once in a I worked hard to get back scene, and then never again. You don't give a damn about any of those people running out of that tunnel.
That's completely untrue. Everything you described about your movie is just, it's a funny Eddie Murphy movie, and it's a funny Eddie Murphy ending, and that's it. And it's fine. The one thing it does, it forgets what it's supposed to be about. About halfway through the movie, he meets the little girl who got cancer from the power lines, and his whole quest is now to get these power lines investigated. And in the final scene, that's not even mentioned. He just gets these 2 guys fired, and it's been established that Congress is corrupt from top to bottom, so there's just going to be a place more people like him, and the power lines are going to get taken care of. So the one thing the movie focused on that we were looking for at the end doesn't happen. My movie is the exact opposite. You do care about Ray. You do care about Vontae Mack, and that's what's great about it is all these moving pieces. How's it going? Because it's not just how is it going to work out for Sonny. How are the chips going to fall for everybody else? You get invested in all these other characters, and by the end, you want to see how it works out. And the way it works out is so brilliant, so great. I completely disagree. You don't care about these characters. You care very much about Vontae. You care about, in his short time, you care about Ray and his legacy with the Cleveland Browns. They give you enough things here to care about these characters. And then Kevin Costner turns it all around and gives you exactly what you want. Your movie, like I said, it's funny. Eddie Murphy makes me laugh, but there's nothing there. I'm not going to remember it a week from now. I'm not going to get excited about it. I'm not going to quote it. It's just, it is what it is.
It has one of the most memorable Eddie Murphy quotes if you've ever seen it in Dick is Good, because it's so hilarious. What's more entertaining than watching Eddie Murphy at his best go at Lane Smith at his best? Nothing. You said it forgot what it's about. He's stopping the hearing because the people who are stopping the power lines is Dick Dodge and his company. That is why he's stopping the hearing, to break those people down. You don't know anything more about Ray, the running back, than he might have beat up a person. You don't know anything more about the quarterback you're rooting for than he got hurt. You don't even know the face of the punt returner they draft. Vontae Mack should have been your ending, because he is the one, even though he's gone for 50 minutes, he's the one you care about. And you pick him surprisingly with the number 1 pick with 27 minutes left to go. And you know what happens in the rest of the 27 minutes? We meet a bumbling Jacksonville GM to try to get those other picks for those other guys. And you end with Kevin Costner saying, hey, Ma, we're going to have a baby, to a woman, his mother, who he disrespected the entire film. All she wanted him to do was go out to a field and spread the ashes. And he said, no, I'm too busy. But then you see them walking in the background of the field to do it while he's talking to Jennifer Garner.
I don't know why we're talking about
no chemistry. No chemistry.
Okay.
So why are we going to care about, look, Ma, we're going to have a baby when you hate that guy for disrespecting his mom? There's 5 dudes and a 6th person you give no shits about.
Let me talk.
In
the
your
reason
ending
why,
of the film.
The reason why it doesn't end with Vontae getting drafted is because exactly what I said. We care about everything else. We want to see how it play off. It's not enough. Sonny has been so downtrodden that we want to see him come back. And yeah, we meet the bubbling GM. We meet this guy that Sonny is able to take advantage of. Like I said, it's structurally, it flips. Sonny was taking advantage of before. Now he's the one taking advantage. And he meets this guy. The punt returner, it doesn't matter. We don't need to see him because it's not about the punt returner. It's about him getting the power over the Seattle Seahawks.
He got the punt returner from the Jacksonville GM that you just said mattered.
I'm saying that he got the punt returner from Seattle. And he got
he got the picks from the GM from Jacksonville.
Yeah, exactly. And it all comes together at the end. That's the whole thing. Your ending is just, again, if I watched 10 Eddie Murphy movies, I would not remember yours. I would not be able to pick your ending out of a lineup. You watch Draft Day, you're like, oh, I remember that. I remember Vontae. I remember the pancakes. I remember all these things he did, all the machinations that he did to bring it all around. We didn't know how it was going to turn out. Your movie, we know how it's going to turn out. Eddie's going to win in the end. It's just how funny is it going to be? That's what it's about.
We know how Draft Day is going to come out.
Absolutely, we do not. There's so many movies
at the top at the end.
No, we don't know how it's going to end. We don't know who's
actually. It would have been a better ending if they didn't get the first pick. That would have been a much better ending. That would have been much more interesting than watching.
Then he got everything he wanted. He was able to. You see him manipulate it and get everything he wanted.
Went back to stereotype.
Let's go to Kirk first for closings. Kirk, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
The Distinguished Gentleman itself is not too concerned about its ending because we know how it's going to end. We're going to do Eddie Murphy movie. We know Eddie's going to win in the end. We know he's going to quip and mug for the camera. We're going to do a signature laugh. And a week from now, we're going to forget the details of it. We're just going to know we were entertained. And that's okay. It's a comedy. It's an Eddie Murphy vehicle. But there's no real meat to it. Again, the movie forgets the whole point to that ending. The whole point of the ending is to get the power lines taken down. And he doesn't even try to do that. He takes out 2 guys who are going to, the movie establishes are going to be replaced by somebody else who are going to do the exact same thing. He gets kicked out too, so he's not able to do any more change. My movie, like I said, structurally is so well done. You get a great payoff. The reason why we stick around after Vontae is because we become exactly what the opposite we said. We become invested in all these characters. We didn't know what's going to happen. Where is he going to take Vontae? Where's he going to take Vontae? Is he going to have enough picks to get all these guys? Is he going to be able to build a team that he wants? Those are the questions we have, and they're unanswered. And that's why it's a better ending, because we don't see it coming, and it's so satisfying when we finally see that payoff.
Okay, let's move over to Amaru. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
The Distinguished Gentleman is about conning, manipulating, hilarity. It's a straightforward comedy, and the ending is taking all of that and culminating in the most conning, the most quipping, the most arguing, the most excitement. When you watch it, you'll remember Dick is good. You'll watch it, remember, guess where they're going, ladies and gentlemen? To jail in Eddie Murphy voice. You remember when the secret tape was recording, it's sideways, so everybody does this, and when they turn the TV, everybody does that. It's a comedy whose ending enhances all the comedy and everything you want. Eddie Murphy going at Lane Smith, going back and forth. What you remember about Draft Day is Vontae Mack, and that number 1 pick where we didn't know where it was going happens 27 minutes before, introducing another dumb bumbling GM, running out to care about a person who you never see in person, and 2 people who we know all we know about them is one is injured and one went to jail. We know nothing else. And then we have to care about Kevin Costner and his relationship with Jennifer Garner, who has no chemistry to a mother he disrespected the whole time. I don't care about anybody.
Okay. Bring in the judges.
Was Rue's video stuttering at the end, or was that just me?
That was just you.
Okay, yeah. I can still hear everything, so that's fine. I just want to make sure I'm not having problems here. Yeah. I'm trying to shut down some other programs and see if I can help.
No, Kirk's got a little wonky for me at the beginning. So.
Okay. Yeah. As long as I could hear, that's all that mattered.
Vontae Mack, no matter. Just...
Didn't someone like weirdly famous direct Draft Day?
Ivan Reitman.
Last movie.
That's it. That's it. I believe we are starting with Roberto.
Indeed. I like Chad McBride. I like the Pushing Daisies. Great show. Can't compliment it enough. If you haven't watched it, that being said, it's kind of inconsequential relative to what's going on with the debate. Anyway, this is another one. You know, it gets hard when it comes to like description of what makes a good ending. Is it its memorability? Is it how it wraps things up? Is it being funny and like continuing on with the case of the story? Is it like a twist ending? Like what makes a good ending? I guess it depends on your feeling at the time, honestly. So there's a lot to consider. Rue had a lot of points about the connection with what's going on in his movie and how it wraps up and how it kind of pushes forward everything and it props everything up from what the movie was. Kirk hit back saying that it actually didn't do that. It's not memorable. He went on to describe, Draft Day as a culmination of everything that Kevin Costner was building for. You really have to kind of parse out what it is that makes the most sense. And for me, it was kind of a technical thing with regards to like the consideration of everything that goes into someone's ending. Again, I did have enough baseball players. I don't know why I didn't go with this. I went with a Carlos Ruiz. Carlos Ruiz, famous Phillies catcher. There was a thing about like Rue really hit this home, and I think it does bring a point. I wanted a little more from Kirk about like why we care about the other people besides Vontae Mack. But the idea that we get Vontae Mack with still so much time, and there's a lot of wrap up that seems really superfluous or seems really convenient. Without knowing much about Distinguished Gentleman, I decided to go with Rue.
Okay. I went with Kirk. Sorry, Brian.
Of all the debates, this is the one I didn't have to decide.
Yeah, sorry, man. I just felt like I kind of disagree with no offense, Robert. I love you. You described everything very well. I just felt like Kirk did a really good job of telling me why I should care about the ending of Draft Day when Rue was just like completely bashing it and being like, you're not supposed to care. The chemistry is bad like this. Like Kirk was still able to like make me feel like I should care and that the ending is really, really good. And Kirk also convinced me that Rue's ending is funny. The joke made me laugh. Like when Rue said it, I was like, yeah, that's funny. I haven't seen the movie, but I was like, yeah, that's great. And I thought Kirk just kind of described it of like, it is an Eddie Murphy ending where he smiles at the camera, he says a joke, but story-wise, it's not super fulfilling. And it's just kind of a cliched, like, all right, here we are type of ending. And so Kirk had me convinced on the Draft Day ending. So, Brian, your thoughts? Sorry.
I don't mind deciding debates, but in ones like this where it really was practically a coin flip on this one for me. It was extra hard because they're such different movies. And they both kind of had cliche endings in their own way, but their endings totally worked for their movies. You have the comedy where, the con pays off and the bad guy gets his due and all this stuff. And then you have the sports movie where, they overcome and they're victorious in the end and it's all celebratory. And so it's like they both great endings for their movies. So hard to compare and contrast. Hearing the debate, for most of the same reasons as Tim, I went with Kirk on this one. I think that his movie just had a little bit more to it where the ending felt like, it was the culmination of the whole thing. Whereas in the comment in Distinguished Gentleman, yes, it was funny. Yes, the ending worked for that movie and the comedy works, but it's not as much of a crescendo to that, I guess.
Okay. All right. So Kirk is up 3-2. So Rue needs to hit both of the speed rounds. Send it. Rue's good at speed rounds. We've seen that before. So we're gonna start off. Here's how it's gonna work. Let me say that. I randomized the categories in Fanzone from the categories that weren't used in the prep round. Randomized 2 categories, got 2 questions prepared. The first category I'm gonna say. Once I say the category, I'm going to repeat the category a second time. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to say the question. I'm going to repeat the question for a second time. Once I have said the question twice, you guys may answer. You may use the Googles, the interwebs, everything if you need to look something up, if something doesn't immediately come to mind. But whoever says their answer first will be going first. Whoever says their answer second will be going second. You will get a 45-second to start and then a 30-second to close. Rue and Kirk, any questions? All right. These categories are crazy. The first category that was drafted was Oscars. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. The question is, and it'll be in the private chat for you to look at. The question is, what is the best film of the 2010s to win an Oscar? Again, what is the best film of the 2010s to win an Oscar?
There's a part where
I'm gonna go with Spotlight.
Oh, all right.
I'll go with Whiplash.
Woo! Oh, sweet mercy. Okay. We are doing Spotlight versus Whiplash. This is my Christmas. Gentlemen, what is the best film of the 2010s to win an Oscar? Rue, you are kicking this off with 45 seconds on the clock whenever you start talking.
In every aspect, technically, from the great score from Howard Shore to the great way the production design makes the past look really great, to the direction, to the writing, to the performances, but also as a picture, Spotlight has everything you want. It has the great pacing, the story that makes you feel really for all of the characters, but it goes really dark and makes you really care. It makes you like angry, but then you got Tucci and Keaton who come back and bring some levity. Then you got McAdams and you got the Hulk who bring that right back to you and punch you in the face. The up and down, the back and forth of being with every single ride, giving you time to breathe at moments, and then putting you up to the screen at others because of top-notch performances, top-notch score, top-notch directing, top-notch writing, top-notch everything, and it is a breath of what makes it best, not one thing.
Kirk, 45 seconds on the clock.
Whiplash has 2 really great performances, a great character study between 2 characters, student, teacher, and how important is it, that drive to succeed and that drive that drives both these characters. I think that you have J.K. Simmons, who is just amazing, doing some of the best work of the decade. You have the amazing music and the score in this that trails through it all, and that great jazz. And I think that the relationship you have with these 2 characters, it's the script is fantastic. The production, when they go to the shows, the car crash, all these different things, the special effects. There's so much in this movie that make it great. It's not a huge movie, but it's a fantastic character study. It's exciting. It's intense. It's dramatic. Great performances, great music, great effects, great everything. Great movie.
Time. Rue, 30 seconds on the clock.
The theme of fighting a system of they were fighting could get overbearing in Spotlight, but the detective work brings you back so you can have some time to breathe and care about everything and then get back into it. Whiplash is one level and one level only. 2 actors doing amazing performances compared to an entire ensemble that matches it, and they just go the entire time. And in the middle of the movie, at certain points, you need to pause because it's too much and you don't want to watch it and you want to kind of skip to different parts because there's so much going at you in Whiplash that you're like glossing over to the all good parts. Spotlight, you love every single moment.
Kirk, 30 seconds on the clock when you start talking.
Spotlight's a very important movie, maybe the most important movie of the decade, but I don't think it's the best. I think that lends itself to everything. I think you see the performances, you care more about the performance because of how important it is and what these people are doing, how you're rooting for them. It's a lot harder to be selfish and bad and a negative character and still be that, have people want to watch you. I don't want to look away when I'm watching Whiplash. I want to see Whiplash. I can't look away because it's so intense. It's so great. I think that it has Whiplash is better because it's not as important, but still great.
Time. All right. The judges.
No love for Green Book, I see.
I believe we're to Brian.
I maintain the only thing worse than playing a speed round is having to judge a speed round. You have so little to go at. I think they both, and this happens to everybody in speed rounds, myself included. I think they both fell into a trap for a good part of their time, just kind of listing things like great performances, great direction, great score, great this, and that all kind of cancel each other out because they're just listing aspects of the movie. So it came down to who, once they got into the meat of their movie, did a better job of pitching me why theirs is better, what about it makes it, more watchable and better film. And for me, that was Kirk. I think he's got a little bit more into kind of the characters, how the characters study the relationship between the two people, and so that just kind of tipping point for me.
Robert.
Yeah, we just kind of devolved into this is great, this is great, that's great, and this is great, and that's great, and here we're great. But I understand because it's it's 75 seconds total. What are you gonna do? Yeah, like I guess what a lot of it comes down to for me when I'm judging is like who hits me with more stuff. Who can I glom onto? Is there more description of what's going on with regards to the film? And I actually, in this case, Tim, you're going to decide it because I went with Moses Malone, aka Rue. I just thought he gave me a little bit more than Kirk did beyond character study. So
I went with Rue. And I'm kind of in the middle of you guys. Like, I think I liked what Kirk said about Whiplash. I think these are both 5 out of 5 movies. Like, I love these movies. And I think that I liked what Kirk gave me from Whiplash. I think Brian was correct in saying that, the stuff about the dynamic between the two guys and everything. I disagree with Brian where he said, like, he didn't get as much from Rue in that sense. I feel like Rue talking about the detective work that the team does, that every character that there's like for the two people in Fletcher and I don't remember what Miles Teller's name is, but for them, for those two, there's even more in Spotlight that the Hulk, all the other characters.
I don't remember that scene.
The Hulk coming to beat down the Catholic Church. I thought that he gave me that, and so I went with Rue. I thought Rue just had a tiny bit more than Kirk there. So with that, we are tied.
Thank you for ripping the Band-Aid off there, Tim.
What do you mean?
How you said your vote right away.
Oh, you're sorry.
There's nothing worse than when you lost a point. You have to wait for the judges to go through the rigmarole. I hate it.
Oh man.
All right. Well, we're moving on to the final one.
Of course we are.
I think this one's a little more simple, but who knows? Maybe the competitors really want to make sure they got the right choice. But we'll find out. The category that was randomized was horror.
Fuck.
The question.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is.
And actually, I'm going to edit this real quick. Not that I think it'll change too much.
Oh, great.
Okay. Category of horror. The question is, who is the best horror final girl or boy? Again, who is the best horror film final girl or boy?
I'm going to go Laurie Strode.
We're going to go with the two that figured that was going to happen. I'm going to go Ellen Ripley. Haley.
Yeah, counts. Okay. I think it counts. Brian, you're looking. I think that counts, right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
No, my thought was like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. That's what that was.
I did not either. So that's great. That's what I wanted. Okay. All right, Kirk. You spoke first, so you are going first. You have 1 minute, or I'm sorry, you have 45 seconds. 45 seconds when you start talking.
I think Laurie Strode is the best character, final girl, because you see the evolution of her character. You get more than one chance to see her survive. In the first film, she's an innocent babysitter, and she's just doing what she can, and she kind of like lucks out and gets away from him. And then you see as she grows, even up to this most recent trilogy, you see her become like this doomsday prepper because she's so scared. And I love that about that character in that movie, because everything she's doing is right, even though people think she's crazy. And you see how it affects her family and her legacy and all these things. Where with most characters, you don't see that, and you don't get that, and you don't get that kind of complete character arc over decades. I think if you take each individual movie she's in, she's very interesting, but also you take that arc, and I think it's a fantastic. Just final story, no pun intended.
Time. Rue, 45 seconds.
Over more than 57 years, you see Ellen Ripley go from a worker who moved up into the ranks to try to go against their captain to somebody who's fighting one-on-one singular against an alien, to a mother protecting a child, to somebody who has to sacrifice herself in a prison. But even all of that, even through all of the arc, the best thing about why Ellen Ripley to me is the best final girl is because she's not just badass and capable and all of that, even though she is. She also shows fear. She also shows scared. She also shows, especially in Alien 1, that time when she thinks she makes a mistake and thinks she's alone. When she gets scared and when she gets it, she comes back and she fights back. And in every single movie after that, you see her learn from her mistakes and her fear to become better, not for herself, but for other people.
Kirk, 30 seconds.
I think the best thing about Laurie is that she is just a regular person, and Ellen Ripley is kind of more in a position to do this. I think she is more of a person that is prepared for what she's facing than Laurie is. I think Laurie is she's a babysitter. She's a young girl, and she gets put into this horrible situation that you don't know. Ellen's in space. Anything can happen in space. She dies at the end, then she becomes a clone. I think becoming a clone really hurts her legacy as a character. I think that fourth movie really kills it. And Laurie also shows fear a lot.
Rue, 30 seconds.
By the end of Halloween Ends, Laurie is the most prepared person to deal with Michael out of all of them. She actually prepares to do that. But in all of the other Halloweens, my issue with Laurie is that while she gets scared, she stays scared. Loomis finishes Michael off in Halloween. She doesn't really grow too much unless you have a split in the timeline. Every single one of Ellen Ripley's movies, there is a reason for that growth. There's a reason where she's just a worker and then having to do the things around her to become grow. Newt makes her become a mother. The prison makes her become a sacrifice sacrifice, and if there's reason behind it, not as for Lori. Fuck.
Gentlemen,
good stuff, Kirk.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Great stuff, Kirk.
Congratulations either way.
I'm tired, and I did nothing.
Yeah, right.
I would have been pissed if I if I lost again on the round 1 speed round. Now, you know what? This was fucking great. So I'm good. Either way. Want to win, but good.
Okay.
All right. I'm ready.
Really good. I like this better than the last speed round. I think both are really good picks. Thought for sure we were getting Nancy from Rue. Then he threw out the Ripley, made it a lot more interesting, I think. To quote Kirk, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. I went with Kirk. For me, at the end of the day, the main thing in my brain the reason I'm giving it to Kirk is I think it was a pretty even back and forth of hit defense from each player. I think the thing that I don't know that it would have been easy to defend, but I think there's definitely a way to defend it, was Kirk bringing up the legacy of Ripley becoming a clone. Is a thing that Rue ignored. And I think Rue did a good job of, defending Ripley can be maybe prepared a little bit more than the every person for the alien, but definitely Lori is prepared by the end. Like, I thought that was a good defense, but left that alien resurrection thing out on the table. And so I think that was a big factor that was kind of ringing in my mind, though I think every other thing that Rue did was on point. So it was just tough. That was just the one thing that was kind of leaving me out, which gave Kirk the edge for me. So, Brian, what are you thinking?
Well, I thought we were going to be arguing in a single movie. So when they both went into franchises, I was like, oh, shit. Because that complicates things a lot. I'll rip the Band-Aid off. I might be stealing this from Robert, but I thought he left the obvious Babe Ruth off the table. I did go for Rue. Honestly, so much of it was kind of a wash because, they talk about the evolution versus the franchise. They both kind of had that. I did think that the clone thing was left on the table. I do wish, I think that Rue left a good comeback on the table for his, that you don't know what's fucking canon in Halloween, depending on, which films you count, which ones you don't. And, they've ignored their own chronology and stuff. But I didn't take that into account because it was not argued. But for me, it just came down to he's talking about how, Ripley, at the beginning, kind of, she's not really prepared for it as well, just like Lori. By the end, Lori's like, got this whole, survivalist mentality. I don't remember how I phrased it, but yeah, close one again.
Okay, Roberts. Sorry.
Yeah, I was doing the math. I was like, I might have to decide this. I don't like it. Brian, I don't bring up Babe Ruth because I watch like a lot of like baseball trivias and he never gets brought up because it's just obvious because he's Babe Ruth. So that's why I didn't do it. All right. These were both fantastic choices. I was like you, Tim. I thought that Rue was going to go the obvious route, and he didn't. He did a swerve. They both kind of made similar pro arguments, and I'm gonna let this simmer. I don't want to rip the Band-Aid off. I want to make both these people suffer. So I'm gonna go on my feet. I think they both did.
3 hours later.
Yeah, 3 hours later. Yeah, I think they both kind of hit their pros of both Laurie and Ripley the same. Like they both evolve over time. They're both kind of, I don't want to say fish out of water, but something like that. People who are thrust into situations they weren't necessarily prepared for and were able to rise up and overcome. And then as franchises wore on, their characters evolved. Evolution was kind of the thing that brought up a lot. And then as they debated against each other, it really was about kind of what resonates with you in terms of how you look at the totality of the character. So I did a catcher before. I'm going to do another catcher now, less known. I went with Alejandro Kirk. I went with Kirk. Because I think that idea, bringing up Ripley in the fourth movie, is just a big thing. Like, you can't remove it from the fact that she becomes she becomes a superpowered person, which thus kind of lessens her interest, making her interesting as a final character as opposed to Laurie. I like what Kirk said about not only is her legacy for herself, but how it relates to her family, especially as we get into the later movies with her daughter and her granddaughter. I thought that was something that hit home with me. I thought his attacks were just a slight twinge better. I ended up going with Kirk.
All right, well, that means your winner and new Fanzone debate champion is Kirk Kowalkowski. We're going to give the players a respite for a moment. Robert, you were just talking, but I'm going to let you talk again real quick. What are your final thoughts coming out of this one? Because this was pretty mixed across the board from the three of us. And I thought this was a hell of a match. What are your thoughts coming out of it?
I think this was the best match I ever got to judge as a debate. I think these are just two people who understand every subtle nuance of this game, how to play it with regards to picks, how to play it with regards to openings, closings, and opens, speed rounds. Everything is in their bag. So this is like that debate. This is like the first debate. This is what you want to see. This is Dumbledore and Voldemort. This is what you want. You sometimes apologize when you vote for someone a lot. I'm not going to apologize. I voted for Rue a lot. I'm not going to apologize. I thought he made the best arguments for the majority of this match, just not at the end. We got to the end, and Kirk is the way he is, and Kirk's going to be a Hall of Famer probably, and Rue's probably going to be too. But I think Kirk
is already. Kirk already's in there.
Oh, he is. I don't know histories, but Kirk is a Hall of Famer for a reason. He just showed up a little bit more at the end today for me.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk to the players. Rue, hell of a match. You kind of said it there at the end that this was you had a goal. I mean, obviously to win is a goal, but you were very happy to get past that first speed round question. And this was just a crazy match from beginning to end. Like, you guys were back and forth the whole time. What's kind of your big takeaway coming out of this one?
I didn't pay attention to the clone comment. I heard him say clone and I let it wash over me because I was thinking about what my closing was going to be. Like, I didn't, if I would have heard it, I had a rebuttal the second it clicked, but I was focused on what am I going to say right now? It's the last 5 seconds. And I heard clone and it just went one in one ear and out the other. Other than that, like, there were plenty of times, like, I was like, wow, I thought I was going to get swept on the verdict question at the end of it. I thought he had me. Like, so when I got the clean sweep, I was like, oh, okay. And I thought that I had the Chai McBride question. So, like, when that happened, I was like, okay, well, either way, that's why I was like, I can't lose in this first speed round because I'm tired of losing to Kirk on the first speed round question. I don't like losing these. I never like losing these, and I lose these a lot to Kirk, which ticks me off. So I have to come back again and try to get Kirk again. I did defend, which was nice, but I wanted to defend against Kirk, so that's what I'm upset about.
That's fair, Rue. I get it. Well, we will see you again as long as you're willing to play. We'll have you back here, man. I thought it was an excellent match, great performance. I think Robert is onto something. It's the first match of the year, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see this at the end of the year as a nomination for best match of the year. So
great stuff, Kirk. Always has me on my toes with stuff I'm not expecting, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Amaru, congrats on a match well played. We will see you soon as we bring in our 3-time Fanzone debate champion. I was looking at it. I believe the only 2-time champion. I could be wrong about that, but I believe the only 2-time champion as well. So to come back and do this again. Kirk, did you think this was going to happen? What's your immediate thought coming out of this?
It was. I mean, I didn't have any expectation coming in. Rue is a great champion and a great player, and he gets better every single time he plays. Obviously I try to come in with as much confidence as I can, but I know he's going to hit, and he said it about me, but Rue, like no other player, Rue comes out of the gate and just throws half a dozen things at me that I was not ready for. And I have to just completely, restructure everything I want to do. So he definitely brings the best out of me. And I had no expectations. Obviously I wanted to win. I hoped to win. But I knew that it was going to be an incredibly uphill climb with Rue.
Kirk, now that you're the champion again, you're going to have a bit of a break. But we're looking ahead to the rest of the season. I'm going to throw out some names for you. I want to hear what you like in these names. Okay, ready? Here you go. Adelaide Spence, Brooklyn Vale, Richard Schwartz, Jack Pinchuk. Anything speak to you in any sort of way?
You're naming a lot of great debaters, and there are a lot of great debaters in this league. So that's why I feel comfortable. I think I'm leaving it in good hands. I'm going to retire as champion.
Like right now?
Right now, yes. Yeah.
You're dropping it right now?
Yeah. My plan last year, if I would have made it to the end of the season without the as champion, I would have retired then. But losing for Rue and I just felt that passing on the automatic rematch would be disrespectful to Rue and to the league. So I felt required to take that. But this was, this was going to be I was going to retire either way, win or lose. So I've done everything I can. 3-time champ now. I really have nothing to prove. And like I said, I think I'm leaving it. I think, we got a really strong, Brian, Jacoby, Rue, of course. We have a very strong stable of players. And I'm really excited to see what happens. But yeah, I'm ready to take a step back and judge and do some other things and just watch all these great debaters. But yeah, I've done this a lot over the past few years. So I'm definitely ready for a break.
Awesome. Well, Kirk, congratulations. I was not expecting that. And so, but I already have the things in my head of what to do next. I love it. So Kirk, congrats. I guess, absolutely phenomenal legacy to leave behind. Hall of Famer, 3 times.
And I'll say thank you to you, Tim. Thank Nick, Robert, Brian, everybody who judges, everybody who writes, everybody who participates. I've loved doing this. It has been so much fun. So many great opponents. Brian, Rue, Jacoby, everybody I've beat for the title. I've had such a good time, and I'm glad to go out because honestly, I'll tell you this, Rue, this is probably my favorite match I've ever played. So I'm really glad to go out on this one. And like I said, you bring out the best of me. All these guys do. So I'm excited to see what happens to the league next.
Awesome. Kirk, thank you so much. Brian, I was going to move to you at the end to say, final thoughts, but
Well, first of all, for this, actually great time for him to go out, although he's running from me. We all know it. But
I was gonna mention that actually you're also in this picture, Brian. I was gonna save it for last. So
obviously I'm just joking, but
and he left. He had nothing else to say. He was like, I'm out, peace, goodbye. I'm gonna give him a minute. We'll be right back because I do want to hear what Brian has to say. All right, Brian, you're back. What is this? Go
no, but I was just saying I think it was a great time for him to go out because I agree with Robert. This is probably the best debate I've ever had to judge. Every single one of them was close. They're both great. Honestly, I think my vote mostly didn't even matter. This whole thing. It's just like there was like 2 sweeps, and then I was in the minority like 3 times. I like Robert. I don't apologize that I voted for Kirk the majority of this match, and the 2 times I voted for Rue, one was a sweep, and the other one I was in the minority, so it didn't affect those 2. But it was a great debate. And just on a final note, Kirk, clearly the best there ever was in Fanzone. So at least I know that I won't have to talk about, Sidney Lumet and George Romero and Kurosawa, unless somebody else brings it up. But he did a great job, and I love watching him debate, and I'm glad he's still going to at least be around to judge and stuff. So congratulations, Kirk.
Yeah, I hope he still is around.
He said he was going to judge. So.
Sweet mercy. Okay, well, thank you so much to Robert and Brian for judging this one, and obviously Amaru and Kirk for playing. Thank you to everyone else who helps make this thing run, the Menchakas, the Tuigs, all of you. We appreciate you. Thank you. We're going to be back in full swing next week with our first regularly scheduled match. Adelaide Spence versus Richard Schwartz. So we'll see that next week. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline.